Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. I was thinking today about something that people have asked me on a regular basis. I've been asked a lot about whether or not I would ever want to teach at an HBCU, why I don't teach at an HBCU right now. And, I think that's a good question. In fact, I think any prominent scholar or whatever you want to call us, scholars, leaders, all these things. I guess that's what people might define us as. I think everybody should be asked about their commitment to the black community. What have you done for black people? What are you trying to do for black people? And at least I don't have a problem answering that question because I know deep down in my core, the core of my spirit, I've been very committed to the black community. I'm always thinking every day, every night about how we can restore pride and dignity to our community, how we can build strong families, build communities, how we can make ourselves great. Like Donald Trump, actually, he runs around saying, we're going to make America great again. Well, I want to make black America great again. So I don't know, maybe. I hope I don't sound as silly as Trump, but that's just what I believe. I really believe that black people are extraordinary people. We are the original people. We are feared because when we have our stuff together, we really can't be stopped. And I'm very proud of this. And I think it's quite unfortunate that we've allowed other people to define us as being something less than what we are. Beating down our self-esteem is one of the ways that the enemy controls us. You know, and so anyway, I'm committed to this. I think definitely as a man, I don't like the fact that black men are forced to kiss ass in order to feed our families. I don't think that that is good for us. I'm a big believer in nature, and I think women are attracted to black men who are strong, and that's why I encourage all black men to be strong because you want the woman that's next to you to be able to feel secure with you, and you want your children to be able to look up to you. And it's hard for them to look up to you if you run around yelling "Yes, massa," "Yes, boss" every other turn. Not that there's no dignity in having a job. I'm not saying that at all. I think having a job is something a lot of people do, and I think that's fine. But I think that you want to understand this world so you can position yourself to be empowered and to be free and to be able to make your own choices and set your own destiny. You can't go through life being scared of white folks all the time. You can't be afraid of the truth. You can't go through life dependent upon your oppressor to give you the things that you need. You can't go through life without any form of economic security because that's going to be the key to your spiritual and psychological security. That's what all this is all about. Everything I teach, that's what it all comes back to. It comes back to the restoration of strength and pride and dignity. It's not about getting rich overnight. Of course, getting rich is fine. I'm not judging that if that's what you want to do. But that's not why I teach finance. That's not why I teach investing. That's not why I teach business ownership. I teach those things because you don't feel good about yourself when you're always stressed out. When somebody's always telling you what to do, when you're always getting your butt kicked by life. That's not how you live a healthy, happy existence. And so, anyway, on this HBCU issue, I can tell you the truth. I wanted to teach at an HBCU so bad. When I graduated from Ohio State University with my PhD, I remember me and my friend, we were talking about trying to teach at Howard University. Unfortunately, I don't know what was going on with their bureaucratic process. And I'm not the only person who's observed this. I love Howard University. I don't have any problem with the school, but my goodness, I mean, the amount of time it takes them to have a turnaround on applications, it made me wonder, how does anybody ever get a job there? How does this work? I know that my friend, she ended up teaching at a different school because she said I wanted to teach at Howard, but they didn't get back to me. It took them, or they got back to me months and months later after everybody else had already gotten back really fast. And then there's another opportunity, another time where I was approached by somebody at Howard about teaching in her department. The problem was she wanted me to work for 1/4 of the pay that I was making, and now I could take a 20% cut. But remember, it's 1/4 of the pay. It was three dynamics. Number one, the pay was about about 1/4 of what I was making. Number two, DC was going to be a much higher cost of living. Number three, I was told that I would have more on-campus work to do, which meant that I couldn't even go out and make extra money to make up for the income differential. I was willing to consider a pay drop from about 115 or 120 to literally 35, 40, $50,000. Or I think she talked about 35,000 or something like that. I was willing to do all that just to teach black students, but I remember just doing the math and saying, I don't know how I'm gonna figure this out. I mean, I could have a business and make extra money, and that's the thing. That's why I encourage everybody to have a side hustle, because when you have a side hustle, you're not so worried about how much you make on your job. You're not so worried about whether or not your boss is going to give you a raise. So because my side hustles were doing better at the time, I was like, well, you know what? I'll take one for the team. I'll go there and I'll teach for almost nothing. Let's figure out how to make this happen. And so I approached a couple of other HBCUs. It didn't work out. I remember, I think it was North Carolina Central. And I went down there, and I remember they didn't have, if I recall, any African American male teachers in the entire business school. And I thought that was so weird that you have an HBCU that doesn't have any African American male teachers in the entire business school, where you have dozens of faculty members. But I saw plenty of Asians. I saw plenty of people from other countries, India, stuff like that. In fact, I think at the time, I know one of the people I interviewed with was Asian. And I just said, wow, this is interesting, because it looks like many of our HBCUs have been taken over by professors who are from other countries. One of the things that you will observe is that people from, say, China and India, they do something African Americans don't really do. They stick together. They hire each other. They hook up their friends. So once some of these departments would have, say, a department chair that was from China, you would find other faculty members coming in from China. And, I'm not saying it's a bad thing one way or the other. People can judge it for how they want to judge it. But I think it's a damn shame when you got historically black colleges where African Americans can't get a damn job. That's crazy to me. I mean, that just really tells you about the sheer ridiculousness of being black in America. The sheer ridiculousness of the training that we've received on the slave mentality, to the point where we will accept a lifestyle and a set of outcomes that literally would seem insane to any other group of normal people. I mean, literally, Jews would look at this and say, "This is ridiculous. This is sick. This is crazy." So it didn't take me long to kind of look at HBCUs from the faculty side. Now, from the student side, I think it's an amazing experience, because you're black and you're around other black people and you're getting this black experience. I think that's great. But, I think from the faculty side, it really bothered me, because not only did you have the exclusion of many African American faculty from some of these opportunities, especially in business and in the sciences. If you don't believe me, just go to a lot of HBCUs and look in their computer science department and see how many African American professors they have in the computer science department. I'm talking African Americans, descendants of former slaves, etc. That's what I'm talking about. So I saw that not only were African Americans kind of shut out of many of these opportunities, but also the bureaucracy is just stifling and sick and borderline tragic. You see a lot of HBCUs literally died because the bureaucracy is so warped and distorted that they make decisions that are to the detriment of the institution. Then you can join that with the fact that many of them are dependent upon government money to survive. So you got massive overhead. You're dependent upon these white folks who don't even like you to pay your bills. You're in trouble. You're going to have some problems. In fact, even when you look at the history of a lot of HBCUs, a lot of the HBCUs were not founded by black people. I remember reading about the founder of Howard University. His last name was Howard, and he was in the military, and he'd run some Native Americans off their land and had done some other crazy stuff. And so it doesn't mean these schools don't have tremendous value. It just means that we got to just see it for what it is. I think that the future I'm concerned about the future of HBCUs, because if you look at a lot of schools, you're being asked to pay a lot of money for what is becoming sometimes problematic um, administrative infrastructure and support for the students. White universities are flourishing. I mean, they're just. It's like the gold rush for them. I mean, you see universities expanding like crazy. They're taking over entire sections of cities because they're getting so much money from the government because they're positioned in a certain way. HBCUs, for whatever reason, have not been able to really tap into this, and I don't exactly know why. I'm not an expert on this, but in fact, I want to talk to my friend Dr. Julianne Malveaux, who was a former president of Bennett College, because I want to get more insights into why many HBCUs are struggling. So anyway, with that being said, the bureaucracy plus the exclusion of African Americans, particularly those who have an authentic voice, that kind of concerned me. The money was not the issue. I didn't care about the money so much. I mean, just pay me. You could. I would have took had 50% pay cut to teach in HBCU. To do more work, by the way, I would have been okay with that. But anyway, all those things, those bureaucratic hurdles, etc., are what concerned me. And so what I realized is I said, I think I can create something better than an HBCU. I just need capital. That's the hard part. That's another thing. Black people. The biggest problem in Black America when it comes to Black unemployment is not this whole old adage that white folks won't give us jobs or we need more affirmative action. I mean, yeah, we could use those things. I mean, those things would be helpful. But white people, like last time I checked, collectively they ain't really thinking about you. They don't really like you that much. And then number two, I don't really know if affirmative action programs are going to be helpful, especially now that they've watered it down so much that white women are bigger beneficiaries than black people are. Dr. Claude Anderson talks about this on a regular basis. Um, so that's not the answer to the black unemployment problem. The black unemployment problem will be solved when black businesses get access to capital. If we increased access to black access to capital by say $5 billion a year, that could be our reparations. $5 billion a year over a 20-year period. So $100 billion, which really the government spent 7 times that on the bailout of these Wall Street banks. They'll bail out white men at a rate of $700 billion in one lump, but black folks, we can't get a penny, a fraction of that. But if they just literally increase black business funding by $5 billion a year, every year for 20 years, you would see black unemployment pretty much disappear. You would see black wealth grow tremendously. You would see black people in far better positions than we are now. So as I was trying to build my school, I was like, okay, I need to raise capital. And so my first funding source was myself. I believe that if you're not willing to invest in yourself, then you can't expect other people to do it for you. And that's one difference I've noticed with other people is that I know a lot of people who are kind of waiting for somebody to give them a paycheck, waiting for somebody to give them an opportunity, waiting for somebody to give them some money. And I said, no, I'm gonna take my own money. I got a job. I got a little steady paycheck right now. I'm about to take all this money and put it into building something that I think can work for me. We studied technology, we studied business, we did all kinds of things. And now we have the Black Business School. The Black Business School, last time I checked, we have about 17,000 members now. So we're almost as big as an HBCU, and we have out of that 17,000, we have thousands of students that are taking paying classes and getting tremendous benefit. And it's really growing into something special, and I'm really excited about it. And most importantly, we have our own economic engine. Why is that important? Well, it's important because we're not out here begging people for money. We're not out here cooning and kowtowing to corporations so that we can get the money that we need to survive. It doesn't mean I won't do business with a corporation, but there's a difference between somebody integrating with you versus you integrating with them. If you integrate with them, you're moving into their house, which means you're living by their rules, and that's why integration did not work for black people. Integration was very bad for black people. But if they're integrating into your house, they're coming into your space with your rules. So if a bank was to say, "Hey, we want to sponsor the Black Economic Empowerment Tour," which we're doing right now, I would say, okay, let's sit down, let's talk about that. I care about black people. I support and defend black people. But if you have something that you can offer that will make their lives better, we can talk, right? That's very different from feeling having a kind of yes boss kind of mindset. Like I need your money so bad that I will do anything that you tell me to do. I will say anything you tell me to say. For black people, freedom of speech is incredibly important, and we're the ones who have it the least. We have to be able to speak the truth. We have to be able to stand up. So my ability to speak the truth is very, very important in my business model. So ultimately, I found that teaching in the Black Wealth Bootcamp, which is at the blackwealthbootcamp.com if you want to know more about it, that is actually better than teaching at an HBCU. We have about 200 to 300 students, 250 to between 250 and 400 students every semester. We have over 1,000 alumni now over the past year. Um, the Black Business School has a lot of other people as well, and we're just finding that it works a lot better because we're able to reach more Black people all around the world in a much more efficient way with much lower overhead, which does what it allows us to give a quality education. What I think is a superior education actually to what a lot of business schools offer, at a price that won't put you deep in debt. I mean, you have so many people that are over $100,000 in debt, and in many cases they got degrees that weren't even giving them the jobs that they were looking for. That's tragic. That's sick. That's crazy to me. I mean, you're $100,000 in debt, and you didn't even get the job that you were looking for. Your degree doesn't even make you feel like you're doing any better economically than you were before. The easiest way to avoid ever building wealth is to start your life so deep in debt that you never get out of it. And a lot of people are doing that right now, and I think that it's tragic. It's crazy. It's sad. And so in the Black Business School, we have a lot of former professors. We have a lot of entrepreneurs who know how to make money, who can teach you how to build things right away. We have people like Damon Dash involved, who created Rockefeller Records and Jay-Z and Kanye West. We have people like Dr. Julianne Malveaux, the former president of Bennett College, who has a PhD in economics from MIT. We have so many people with so much skill, and they offer you something you're not going to get in most business schools. A lot of business schools, you're going to get a professor who has studied in a book and can tell you what's in the book and will charge you $30,000 a year to learn what's in a book that you could read on your own on the internet. So with that being said, there was a time where I really wanted to teach at an HBCU. Then there was a time where I thought maybe one day I'd get a chance to teach at an HBCU, or I was hopeful that maybe I could get in, but yet I became more hesitant. Now I'm at a point where I don't think I want to teach at an HBCU, not because I don't think HBCUs have value for students. I really believe that. In fact, excuse me. In fact, I believe Spelman College is the best school in the world for African American women. It's better than Harvard, better than Yale, better than all these schools because they give you not just the educational value. That's a given at most top universities. They also give them an emotional boost, with a self-esteem boost. And a lot of Black students at predominantly white universities lose that because they feel like they're surrounded. They're in enemy territory. They're getting their butts kicked every day. They're always having to fight for their very basic survival. So it ends up putting you in a position where you're always feeling defensive. You always feel weak. You always feel unempowered. And you're in an environment where the first thing people know about you is that you're Black. That's the first thing they observe, is that you're Black. So you identify yourself as the Black person. Whereas at a good HBCU, everybody's Black. So it's not a big deal, right? So you can focus on being human instead of just being Black. So that's why I'm always going to be a fan of HBCUs. I have a lot of friends that teach at HBCUs. I support them. I think Black celebrities should give to HBCUs. I think we should all give to HBCUs. I've adopted an HBCU, Clark Atlanta University. I'm an honorary alumni of that school, and I'm in the Alumni Association. But I'm going to tell you, I really think education's moving in a direction where we've got to embrace technology and be smart about this. White folks are doing that now too. So that's it. So those are my thoughts on why I didn't teach at an HBCU. No disrespect to anybody, of course. It's just my humble 2 cents that I'm sharing with you early in the morning, as I'm starting my workday. By the way, if you want to join the next Black Wealth Bootcamp, you can visit theblackwellthbootcamp.com. That's theblackwellthbootcamp.com. Also, we are on tour. We're doing the Black Economic Empowerment Tour. Our next cities on the list so far are Louisville, Chicago, and Baltimore, but we're making deals to go to several cities. You can learn more at thedrboycewatkinstour.com. That's thedrboycewatkinstour.com. Find a tour date, find a city. buy a ticket, come on out. I'd love to meet you in person. So until we meet again, please stay strong, be blessed, and be educated. I am gone. Peace.